Good morning and welcome to Farm Factor. I'm your host, Jamie Bloom. First up today, Duane Toews is with Danielle Beck with the National Cattlemen's Beef Association. Then enjoy this week's Kansas Soybean update. Next, Duane Toews and Randy Blach with CattleFax discuss the cattle outlook for 2018. Then it's time for the Kansas Farm Bureau update, and we'll end with Plain Talk featuring Kyle and Duane. Stay with us.
Closed captioning brought to you by Ag Promo Source. Together we grow. Learn more at agpromosource.com. This segment brought to you by Kansas Grain Sorghum. Growers working together. Find out more at kansasgrainsorghum.org.
Welcome to Farm Factor. Up first today, Duane Toews and Danielle Beck with the National Cattlemen's Beef Association are talking outlooks in Washington in 2018.
Duane Toews joining us once again on Ag AM in Kansas, and an opportunity to catch up with Danielle Beck. NCBA Government Affairs Specialist joins us on the program. And Danielle, we think about the cattlemen and cattle industry across the United States. Certainly tax issues have been a big thing that have been discussed, and things continue to evolve in Washington, D.C. in that regard, hopefully for the betterment and for producers and their bottom lines.
That's exactly correct, Duane. Tax reform has been an exciting momentous movement since day one of the Trump presidency. Our president is a businessman. This is his wheelhouse. He's been working really hard with leaders on Capitol Hill to get a comprehensive tax reform bill done. The devil's in the details for agriculture. We talk about simplification. Simplification is great for the individual taxpayer. Myself, I use TurboTax. So, I'm happy with being able to potentially fill out a postcard and do my taxes each year. But for agriculture, simplification could be really dangerous. There are a number of different provisions in our current tax code that do a really good job recognizing the unique challenges and volatility associated with agricultural production. And so our message to Congress, one has been do no harm. Please preserve those provisions that really allow us to do our business from day to day and survive year in, year out.
We think about some of the big issues, estate tax particularly, but some of those exemptions have come under scrutiny as well. Yes.
Death tax is our number one really priority. The death tax has been around for over 100 years, and it's time we repeal that once and for all. Ideologically, we believe that at the end of the day, the death of a human being shouldn't be a money-making opportunity for the federal government. Right now, our biggest challenge with Congress is the fact that they're passing this bill through budget reconciliation, and so the numbers are really tight. It has to be revenue neutral, and that's been the biggest challenge because right now, Republicans in Congress do a really good job recognizing exactly how that impacts agricultural businesses.
Are there issues, Danielle, from a cattleman's perspective as far as things going on in D.C. that are of note?
Right now, tax reform is the biggest topic, but after the first of the year, we'll likely be looking at a farm bill.
Certainly, there are provisions within that. The cattle industry typically isn't a big part of that, but there have been a number of provisions and pieces of those farm bills that have been beneficial and helpful in terms of getting some things done, particularly in cases where we've seen some wildfires and natural disasters.
Absolutely. And this year, NCBA, we are advocating for a foot and mouth disease vaccine bank. Right now, we are relying upon a North American vaccine bank, and it's left us woefully underprepared. If there were ever to be an outbreak here in the United States, it could be potentially devastating, not only just for animal health purposes, but for the trade ramifications that would come about as a result of that. So we will be fighting in the next farm bill for a fully robust funded foot and mouth disease vaccine bank.
Our thanks to Danielle Beck, NCBA Government Affairs, joining us on Ag AM in Kansas. Jamie, we'll send it back to you.
Thanks, Duane. Folks, come back after these messages for this week's Kansas Soybean Update.
To see this show and past episodes of Ag AM in Kansas, go online to agaminkansas.com.
KFRM is one of the largest farm radio stations in the nation, dedicated to informing and entertaining rural listeners from northern Oklahoma to southwestern Nebraska. You can catch KFRM in many ways, of course, 550 on the AM dial, streaming at kfrm.com, or on your smartphone by going to the TuneIn Radio app, or on Ag AM in Kansas on Tuesdays and Facebook every day of the week. KFRM, tune us in. You'll be glad you did.
Ag Promo Source is a unique group of marketing specialists with one mission: help your ag business grow. Each affiliate has their own area of expertise, and they work together to bring you advice, products, and services. To get started, visit agpromosource.com. Ag Promo Source. Together we grow.
About 6 jumps later, I was laying on the ground and thinking, boy, my shoulders sure hurt. I kept waiting, and it didn't get better and didn't get better. I'd heard about Kansas Regenerative Medicine Center on the radio. Got down there at 8 o'clock in the morning, and by 11:30 the procedure was all over, and it just kept getting better and better. And within 6 weeks, I was back digging post holes and doing the other hard work that I'd been doing before the accident. And I'm really pleased. It's really worked out well for me.
This segment is brought to you by the Kansas Soybean Commission. The Soybean Checkoff. Progress powered by Kansas farmers.
Welcome back to Farm Factor and the Kansas Soybean Update.
This is the Kansas Soybean Update. It's brought to you by the Kansas Soybean Commission. The Soybean Checkoff, progress powered by Kansas farmers. Stu Duncan, K-State Extension Crops and Soil Specialist for Northeast Kansas, joins us. Coming up late this month, K-State will be hosting 3 soybean production schools across the state.
And we'll be stretching a little further west this year, and I think that's the direction. As we've seen acreage grow that way, we're going to see more. We start Monday the 22nd in Phillipsburg, and then the 23rd and we'll be in Salina, and then the 24th we'll be at Rossville.
And for these one-day schools, what kind of issues will you be covering?
But since we've expanded westward to Phillipsburg, there'll be more challenges and a little different outlook on things. I think one of the top things on everybody's mind, whether it's Phillipsburg or Rossville, is weed control and control of resistant weeds to some of our current herbicides and the programs that we're using. And Dr. Dallas Peterson will be covering that at all 3 of our schools. Also, our pre-emergence programs that can help any of our programs work a little bit better. There'll be a big push on the irrigation out at Phillipsburg and some entomology as well. The Deck-T stem borer, we may be covering that at some of the others as well, but we get into more disease areas as we go. When we swing to Salina, there'll be more emphasis on double cropping after wheat, and that's certainly grown in that area and south of there. A little different soybean nutrient management. pH is still an issue through that central part. We'll also see that at the Rossville school as well. Again, our planting practices, they're utilizing planting dates, row spacing, populations. We'll be covering that. In Salina, disease management. One of the big highlights there at Rossville is going to be Dr. Eric Edie, from the agronomist in charge from the Kansas River Valley Experiment Station. He's got several years of the effect of planting date by varieties experiments with their effects on sudden death syndrome with soybeans. He's got a plant pathology background, but on the SDS in that River Valley, he's got some pretty good information to share. Doug Jardine will be talking about seedling and foliar diseases.
Stew lunch will be provided courtesy of the Kansas Soybean Commission, who's the main sponsor of the soybean schools. No cost to attend, but you are asking those who would like to attend to pre-register?
Yes, we are, Greg. They can find that information through their local county extension office, or those agendas are online at our e-updates. You can register online at the K-State agronomy website as well, or you can call into your local agent.
And that pre-registration deadline is by January 17th. That is Stu Duncan, K-State Extension Crops and Soil Specialist for Northeast Kansas, who joins us on the Kansas Soybean Update. It's brought to you by the Kansas Soybean Commission. The Soybean Checkoff, progress powered by Kansas farmers. Learn more at kansassoybeans.org. For Kansas Soybeans, I'm Greg Akagi.
Hope you enjoyed this week's Kansas Soybean Update. Stay with us after the break for more with Duane Toews and Randy Blach with CattleFax.
All over the country, more and more communities are making the change to biodiesel made from U.S. soybean oil. And the decision continues, improving the health and welfare for millions of Americans while adding billions to our national economy.
What does a brighter, more sustainable future look like in our cities and towns, and how do we get there? When New York needed an alternative fuel source to reduce carbon emissions, the city found what it needed in biodiesel made from U.S. soybean oil.
Welcome to the Jerry Thomas Gallery and Collection, where we feature my renowned artwork, frontier military, and Native American artifacts. In the painting behind me is Scouting the Trail. Two scouts overlook the Smoky Hill River Valley just north of the famous Monument Rocks, which are internationally renowned, as a column of 7th Cavalry parade north of the river. On this point, two scouts rode in a circle, and there were 18 cartridges found up there, and that meant that they usually were warning of impending danger and firing off their weapons. One of those weapons I feature in the gallery, a Spencer weapon, which we featured in the painting. Very unique and very honored to showcase this to you.
This segment brought to you by Sure Crop, liquid crop nutrition delivered right to your farm.
We're back and now talking cattle market reflection and outlook with Duane Toews and Randy Blach with CattleFax.
Duane Toews joining you once again here on Ag AM in Kansas, and a chance to catch up with Randy Blach, CEO of CattleFax. And Randy, kind of summarizing the year of 2017 for cattle producers, certainly bright spots, a little thin for others, but by and large, we've still got a tremendous amount of work being done in the cattle industry, moving product to consumers.
We've had a great year, I think, in 2017. When you think about all the things that were risks coming into the year, we've really got along great. Exports have been strong. Domestic demand continues to be very strong. Consumer incomes growing. Attitudes very good. You look at the industry, I think the best measuring stick is profitability. All segments of the industry were profitable, and not just a little bit. Some of the best profit margins we've seen anytime, the second most profitable year in the history of the business.
It's kind of interesting when you evaluate that. Sometimes it's the cow-calf guys, sometimes it's the backgrounder, sometimes the feeder. Not often do we see all the guys on the positive side of things.
You're sure right. We don't see it very often, and I think that tells you how strong demand is. When demand lifts all boats to where we don't have to take it away from each other, everybody has an opportunity to work. That's with some margin. That's what tells you demand is good. And been no doubt about it, to grow production as much as we have of beef, pork, and poultry over the last 2 years and be able to maintain this kind of profitability, not just in the beef industry. We're maintaining excellent profit margins in pork, solid profit margins in poultry, and even in the dairy segment. So you got to feel good about the protein producers in this country are getting along pretty well.
Talk a little bit about, you referenced, it's got to be that demand side considering where our placements have been. It seems like we keep pushing cattle forward even with more numbers on feed.
We really have. We've had big numbers on feed, some of the largest numbers we've seen on feed in over a decade. But I think just to remind your listeners out there and viewers of the importance of staying current, fed cattle marketings are up 1.2 million head in 2017. Weights are off 12 pounds. Weights being down 12 pounds reduce that number 450,000 head. That's pretty amazing when you think about that a few pound change in carcass weights can offset that kind of production increase.
Taking that crystal ball, if you will, 2018, where do we go from here?
More numbers, another million head of fed cattle, or approximately probably 900,000 more fed cattle to harvest this year, increasing carcass weights. Obviously, exports will need to continue to stay strong along with domestic demand. You have to expect that prices are going to get a bit easier here in 2018, but I don't think it'll be a train wreck by any stretch of imagination. But I wouldn't be surprised if our markets average $5 or $6 a hundred lower than they did in 2017. But there's still some profit margins out there that producers can lock in and capture, and I hope they're continuing to do that in this incredibly volatile environment.
One thing that we've been blessed with, that we've had ample feed supplies, and a corn crop that's continued to mount year after year has been a benefit as well.
Oh, it really has. It's been a situation. We've had big corn crops and been able to improve our roughage supplies in many areas. So that's been helpful. I know it's been a stretch in here for our farmers. That segment of the industry has gone through 4 years now, very, very difficult margins, and these things tend to change. So I think we need to recognize that too, is that It's not going to stay one-sided, and the markets give us an opportunity in here with some of these cheaper feed supplies. We don't want to get complacent in here. We need to make sure we're keeping some of that tied up to where we don't have too much risk going forward.
Our thanks to Randy Blach, CEO of CattleFax, joining us on Ag AM in Kansas. Jamie, we'll send it back to you.
Thanks, Duane. Come back after this break for this week's Kansas Farm Bureau update.
Tarwater Farm and Home has been family owned and operated since its beginning in 1978. What you need for farm and agriculture, lawn and garden, clothing and footwear, and so much more. You'll be surprised at what you'll find in this huge store. They have what you need and lots of it. So come take a look. You'll discover that customer service is first and foremost. Always has been with the Tarwaters. Tarwater Farm and Home, 4107 North Topeka Boulevard.
Mark your calendars now for the 2018 Topeka Farm Show, January 9th, 10th, and 11th at the Kansas Expo Center. 253 exhibitors, 612 booths, and other attractions like free horse training clinics with Scott Daly, the Kansas Soybean Expo, and free well water nitrate testing. Enjoy free parking, admission, and a chance to win grand prizes courtesy of Midland Seed and Hoyt Truck Center. All this and more at the Topeka Farm Show, January 9th through the 11th at the Kansas Expo Center.
Soil is the life of a farm, and for 25 years, SureCrop Liquid Crop Nutrition has helped growers produce abundant quality crops while preserving and improving the soils they steward. SureCrop offers complete soil and plant analysis with cropping recommendations, delivery direct to your on-farm storage, and quality crop nutrition custom blended for your field. Choose SureCrop for the assurance of excellence for your soil. Call today or visit their website for more information.
Next time you see a beautiful field of corn, reach out and thank the farmers who work tirelessly to raise corn for livestock feed, renewable fuels, and exports to feed a growing world population. The farmers on the Kansas Corn Commission work for Kansas Corn with grower-funded checkoff dollars that support foreign and domestic market development, research, promotion, and education to expand opportunities for Kansas farmers. To learn more, visit kscorn.com.
This segment brought to you by Kansas Farm Bureau, the voice of agriculture. To join today or more information, go to kfb.org or find us on Facebook and Twitter.
Welcome back to Farm Factor and the Kansas Farm Bureau update.
Congress is providing farmers and ranchers with a last-minute holiday gift, lower tax bills in the future. A tax code overhaul passed by both the House and Senate this week makes many changes to the tax code that will benefit farmers and ranchers. American Farm Bureau Federation tax specialist Pat Wolf says the bill includes lower individual tax rates.
We know that 94% of farmers and ranchers pay taxes as individuals, and those tax rates are coming down. The bill also maintains all of the important deductions and credits that farmers rely on. So farmers have all the tools that they've always had to manage their businesses.
New to the tax code, the bill includes a deduction for business income.
Starting next year, farmers and ranchers will be able to take a 20% deduction of their business income. So if they made $100, they'll be able to take a $20 deduction. That's new, and that will also help reduce the taxes that are owed.
The estate tax, long opposed by Farm Bureau, should no longer be a factor for most farmers and ranchers following changes to the estate tax exemption.
The bill doubles the estate tax exemption to $11 million per person. At that level, the vast majority of farmers and ranchers won't have to worry about the estate tax anymore. Most of the provisions are temporary. They only last for 7 years. So starting next year, Farm Bureau will be working to make those important tax deductions, the lower rates, and the estate tax exemption permanent.
Michael Clements, Washington.
Stay with us. Plain Talk is next.
The Kansas Wheat Innovation Center in Manhattan is rediscovering ways to get improved varieties and new genetics in the hands of farmers faster. Grower-led and checkoff-funded research initiatives are bringing about positive change. This grassroots leadership provides a strong voice in Topeka and Washington, D.C. Now is the time to partner with Kansas Wheat in moving wheat forward. Kansas Wheat Commission and Kansas Association of Wheat Growers. Farmers investing in their future and yours. Log on to rediscoverwheat.org.
Welcome to our Bar B, 8,000 plus square feet Western store with something for everyone in the family. We have boots, belts, hats, jeans, anything you could want to outfit you and your horse. Come visit our line of saddles. We have 400 plus new and used saddles in stock. We offer tack, grooming supplies, headstalls, breast collars, you name it, we've got it for you and your horse. That's our Bar B, 1 mile east of Highway 4 on Northeast 39th. Our Bar B, where Western is a way of life.
As fourth-generation farmers themselves, Heinen Brothers Ag Service understands the risk and rewards of farming. So when it comes to quality aerial and ground application, fertilizer, ag chemicals, and anhydrous ammonia, call Heinen Brothers Ag today, 800-760-4964.
No matter where, no matter why, the Veterinary Health Center at Kansas State University is committed to providing quality patient care to animals and exceptional customer service to their owners. From routine checkups to emergency and specialty care, our world-renowned specialists and experienced professionals are here to discover, to teach, and to heal.
Let us know.
How can I help?
How can we help?
This segment brought to you by Kansas Corn. Learn more at kscorn.com.
Welcome back. Now let's see what Kyle and Duane are up to on Plain Talk.
Hi, this is Kyle Bauer with Plain Talk with the giddy Duane Toews.
It's almost like a new season. I found some new material to use for my Fact or Fiction.
Oh, boy, I'm happy
I know
about
you're
that.
elated about it.
I'm elated.
Fact or Fiction, Kyle Bauer, you lose, depending on the fruit, 30 to 80% of the vitamin and antioxidant properties by drying it. Fact or fiction?
I wonder if vitamin and antioxidant is the same thing, because I take C and E because they're antioxidants. So therefore, are antioxidants only vitamins?
No.
What other things are antioxidants? Is fiber an antioxidant?
That's the purple in grapes.
The purple, the color.
The purple in grapes.
The purple in grapes.
Surely that's what the antioxidant is.
Yeah, oh, well, we'll see how that goes.
I'm not a nutritionist.
Yeah.
Don't take that for advice.
Okay, I'm saying, my wife only gives me credit for eating fruit that is raw, and she doesn't seem to count anything else. I mean, like if I eat cherries in a pie, no, not a fruit. If I eat strawberry jelly, no, not a fruit serving.
Doesn't count?
It's like I've got to have, even canned fruit, she doesn't give me much credit for canned fruit. So I'm going to go, what did you ask again?
30 to 80% loss.
True. Fact.
That is a fact. I thought I would stump you with that one. I thought you might think I was talking about the water content.
Well,
but only 20% wouldn't really be considered drying, I
no,
guess.
Actually, when you started down that, I thought of the water
80%.
thing.
I have a hard time. Okay, the only thing that's leaving is you're heating it up.
Well, not necessarily
drying it out.
Well, I guess slightly heating it.
I mean, you're running air over it to dry it out.
Running air over it anyway, right?
And moisture is coming out, but also good stuff is leaving too. That doesn't make sense to me.
It doesn't make any sense to me either.
Not sure about that.
It's I don't.
So
eat
why
many
don't you
fruits.
get credit for being eaten pie? The added sugar blanks out the advantage of eating the apples?
Well, there's a big part of it there too. Absolutely right on that. I don't know. She doesn't give me much credit for anything, actually. I'm not sure why I don't get credit for that. Fiber is a big thing. Here's one.
Okay.
So when you cook a fruit or vegetable, you break down the fiber, and that's why it isn't crunchy anymore, right?
Makes sense.
And
to
that's
me.
why it mushes between your teeth. It's not crunchy. You break down the fiber. So does it still have? Does a pound of cooked apples have the same fiber as a pound of raw apples?
I would think it would have more, because cooked you would lose so much of the moisture.
Well, no, I didn't say cook and dried.
Right.
I'm saying make into a mush.
Cooked.
You're going to put no additional moisture in or out.
Okay. My old time in feeds and feeding would say that treating fiber with some process, either heat or chemical, makes it more digestible.
Right.
But I don't know whether or not that means it alternatively affects its quality.
So is the healthy fiber the non-digestible fiber? Because we aren't cattle that break down fiber in our rumen.
You have no rumen.
So is the only healthy thing about fiber is that it doesn't break down?
I don't know. There's no rumen at the end.
Thanks for joining us. I'm your host, Jamie Bloom, and I hope you enjoyed today's show. See you next week on on Farm Factor.
Closed captioning brought to you by Ag Promo Source. Together we grow. Learn more at agpromosource.com.